What's up, you guys? We just finished Ask Alex number 50. We're 2 away from a year with you guys. And this webinar, we brought on one of our own, Mr. Ibarra, to talk Maui. What were your biggest takeaways, Camacho?
Man, what a great webinar. We got to interview Alex Ibarra, our acquisitions director over there on Maui. And so he talked a lot about the apprenticeship model, how to do deals in expensive markets without your own money, and a lot of lessons. So check it out. Let's go. What's up, my deal makers? What's going on, everybody? Today we are talking with Alex Ibarra. He's my acquisitions manager over at acquisitions director over at our island home offer company that we have in Hawaii. So we're gonna be talking to him today. Excited about that because the kid has really worked hard. I gotta admit, I've been impressed. He has such a determined mindset. My man, Will, DJ Kill Will in the building, baby.
What's up?
We are having what it seems to be a massive in-person meetup today. So we're really excited about that. I know I'm gonna be able to meet a lot of my tribe, a lot of the community of deal makers in person. So how's my audio visual, Will? You look good over there in the patio?
Yeah, everything's looking good, man. We hear you just fine. Out here on the patio, I should be connecting as well, so you should be able to hear me and everything. And obviously excited to hear from our guy Mr. Ibarra today. It's going to be super fun. I know today might be a little bit light because obviously we're doing a big meetup tonight, and you guys have seen that in the Facebook group and everything like that, so we're excited. Obviously Alex is in town, and I think Ibarra let us know we're even going to try and get a meetup going up out in Maui here in a little bit. But obviously a lot of fun when Alex is in town and getting to connect with people, so we're really looking forward to that later tonight.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Us, we're here in Los Angeles and in Maui. That's where we're kind of investing. And so obviously excited to connect with people in our area and outside of our area. Alex, I know you're just now back in LA recently, but where were you at before this, man? I know you just made the trip up here and just got back to LA now, right?
Yeah, so I was in Mexico for close to 2 weeks or a little more than 2 weeks, and just flew back in over the weekend. Got here, actually on Monday night, and just hit the ground running. So I've been here for a couple of days in LA, staying in downtown, and it's been great just to see my brother, see a couple of people. We went to the Clippers game yesterday. Got to meet Albert Preciado, a really big investor, entrepreneur here in Southern California. Just randomly got to see him, and that was cool. And just really excited about today's in-town investor meetup because it's at a location that it's at the headquarters of my brother and his partner's company. So it's super cool to be able to use that venue. I know they've been using that venue to host events and things like that. So we're going to be hosting our own event there. And just, I think it's going to be massive. It's going to be epic. It's going to be a fun time, and people are going to get value up, and we're going to connect with a lot of people. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to be going back to Mexico though on Sunday. My brother and I decided to go to Puerto Vallarta for a couple of days. He wants to get out on the water, and he's big into boating. We've been out there in boats with him and some of his friends, and some of the boat owners he knows in Marina Del Rey. So I wanted to do that, and after that, we're likely going to go to Tequila for a day, and then after we go back to Guadalajara for our the Thanksgiving. My parents flew in. I got them to come in last Monday, actually this Monday, and so they'll be there for a couple of weeks. Just a lot of fun things happening there, but also more on the business side. We got a new deal in Hawaii, so it's our third deal. It's a cosmetic fix and flip deal on the Big Island, so not on Maui, but the other Big Island. So excited about that. We'll be talking about that with Ibarra today on the webinar, and also we're going to be onboarding some new acquisitions managers for the Antelope Valley. People that have been kind of following our journey, right, Will? And they looks like they want to become full-time deal makers. So they're going to be joining the team. I know we've been talking to them, having one-on-ones with them, and we really filtered them down. We had, I think, probably about 24 people apply for the positions, but we decided to go with these couple of people because they all had what we were looking for. So we were hiring more than one as an acquisitions manager out there in Antelope Valley. So excited about that. And then one last thing I want to say is that we hit 500 people, 500 members in our private Facebook group. So if you're not part of that, make sure that you join, because we're building a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, real estate investors, wholesalers, people that want to help each other in this journey that we're all on for financial freedom through real estate investing. So we have 500, and people are real go-givers in there. So check it out. But I'm ready to interview my man, Alex Ibarra. You want to introduce him, or do you want me to do the intro?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is going to be a fun webinar here today. One of our businesses is out here in Los Angeles that everybody kind of knows you for, Alex. But obviously, recently you've made the move out to Maui and just hit your 1 year anniversary as being a full-time Maui resident. So that's a fun accomplishment for you, and I'm really excited to bring on our special guest today. Obviously, like you mentioned. Ibarra's been working his tail off out there, right? And really kind of growing the business from scratch. Whereas I got to kind of ride off the coattails. It was, hey, there was no Alex Camacho in Maui. There was no island, home offer. There was none of it, right? So should be really interesting to hear his story. I know I always get hyped up when we get to meet and connect because Alex is doing exactly the same thing I'm doing out here, but, on the island side. So, Alex, tell us a little bit more about, Mr. Ibarra, and then we'll go and bring him here onto the screen and welcome him onto the webinar.
Yeah, so first I'll do the formal interview and then or formal introduction, and then I'll also do like kind of my quick 2 cents on meeting Alex and beginning to work with him now close to a year. But Alex is a family man and investor. He currently lives full-time on Maui. He lived some time on Oahu, but he decided Maui was the place that he really wanted to call home with his wife and his two handsome boys. And he has a background like in digital marketing and sales, but earlier this year he saw the opportunity to help build out the Hawaii side of my business, and also hasn't looked back. He enjoys surfing, spearfishing, flipping $1 million properties using none of his own money. So that is his intro. Quick thing about Alex is I met him not too long after I began calling Maui home. It's been a year now, but shortly thereafter my Bigger Pockets podcast was released, and then he heard it, and then he was definitely inspired to take action. He was already doing some real estate with some family, but he wanted to do it more on a full-time basis and reach out to me. He we met in person, didn't do anything right away, but because remember I had just moved to Hawaii, so I wanted to make sure LA operation, because of Brandon Turner's like mentorship, and he basically told me, hey, don't build 2 bridges at once. Make sure that you're building out one and is solid before you go out and try to build another one. And that's exactly what we did. When we worked on that for the first couple of months. Well, Alex stood around. He was persistent. He kept following up with me. I still remember when he first got my, when he got my attention, because he took us spearfishing. That's one of his passions. And so he took me, investor girl Brittany Arneson, and Matt Onofrio for a spearfishing trip. And that really helped kind of building that bond. And then when I went to LA a couple of weeks later, I said, hey, I'm ready to start doing some marketing, doing some deals here in Maui. But if you go out there and put in 500 addresses into the deal machine application to start getting our own custom list on Maui, I'm ready to start doing something. And he went and attacked for those 2 weeks. Every day I was looking at my phone, like 86 properties, 26 properties, 46 properties. There's always new properties being added every day while I was in LA. And then when we got back, he had put in 700 addresses on the island of Maui, and we began marketing. And that's kind of where we took it from there. But like you said in the introduction, Ibarra has really kind of just helped me growing it from the ground up and taking a lot of responsibility to learn the business and take action. And now, he's gotten a couple of deals in the belt. We got like 3 or 4 we're working on, and we're growing this business. So welcome, Alex. Good to have you, brother.
Great to be here. Thanks for that intro.
All right. So it looks like Will's dealing with something here. But
yeah, no, I was just dealing with the little glare out here. I think it's just the life of being out here in the sun in LA. Must be with all you Maui guys on the call that's giving me these sun vibes. So no, like you said, Alex, great introduction, and fired up to hear from Ibarra. Go ahead and take it away, man. Tell us a little bit more about you.
All right, just to give you a little bit of background, just a high-level overview of who I am. I grew up in Utah, a little place called Lehigh. I spent a couple years after graduating from high school, I spent a couple years on a church mission over on the East Coast. I came back, I was 21 years old, and I got in my hand somehow the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And from then I was a goner. There was there was nothing else in my future. It was going to be real estate. And so from there, I a little while after I married my wife. We've known each other since high school. But when we shortly after we were married, we went to school on Oahu. Number one reason was she loved the beach, and I was like, hey, we're gonna go to school and we're gonna live on Oahu in Hawaii for a little bit. But also this particular school, when I was looking for a place that would fit what I wanted to do, they had this class about real estate investing. I was like, okay, here we go. This is gonna be my big break. I'm gonna get to know the professor. We're gonna get tight. She's gonna be my mentor, and this is gonna be it. And so we went to school. Absolutely loved my school experience, college experience, but as you know, you might be able to guess that my hopes for my real estate career being started there in college, it didn't happen, not the way I'd hoped it would. So a little while after, we had a couple kids, and I realized we're still in school, and I was like, I know exactly what I want to do, and I know exactly what it takes to get there. I don't need this degree. I still had a year left. And I was like, I don't need this. And so we made the jump. We left school, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to find some deals, and we're going to start investing in real estate. So I had a little bit of background in digital marketing. I'd done some work for an agency that did Amazon marketing. So I'd run a lot of ads and campaigns. So I just figured I'd just go use Facebook marketing to find motivated sellers. And so I did that for a little bit, had some success, found some good leads, and we ended up getting a deal over on Kauai. And we were stoked. They were going to do sub 2. It was going to be the perfect, no money, investing with zero of my own money. It was going to be awesome. And we got it deeded over. We found an end buyer, and it was under contract in escrow. And did the title report, and came back with a $40,000 tax lien on the house. So that blew it up. So that was kind of my first attempt in real estate. Was a valuable experience. Didn't get paid the way I wanted to, and luckily we had no money tied up in the deal, so it ended up being not a huge setback. And I was able to learn a lot, but I realized I could use some more guidance, more experience, especially with someone who was on island and had a lot of experience doing what I want to do. So I tried to figure out, for a long time, that's why I went to school was to find that mentor. I've been looking for this mentor for a long time. But I thought to myself, okay, what is it going to take for me to be able to bring value to somebody who already knows what they're doing, somebody who's experienced and is established? And I realized that no matter how wealthy somebody is, how successful a real estate business they always need a good deal. That's all their wealth starts with a good deal. So I was like, hey, I am going to go and become a deal finder. I know some marketing. I've got a little bit of sales experience, but I could probably use a little bit more. And so I went with a job that just, there's a lot of lessons there along the way. I think we can touch on a little deeper, just keep these high level. So I got a job knocking doors, selling pest control door to door. It was not a sexy gig, but I learned a ton, and it was a good fit for what I wanted to do. It kept me in Hawaii, which is exactly, that's where we want to be. We fell in love with the place real quick while we were in school. And so it allows me to stay here and gain sales experience, provide for my family. And then about a year ago, it was in November, I was listening to Bigger Pockets podcast, as I've been doing for the last few years. And this guy with my same name, another Latino guy, he was on there. He said, hey, I just moved to Maui. And if you want to do deals on Maui, let me know. And so I was like, all right, this is it. So I hit him up on Instagram. I said, bro, let's do this. I'm ready to go. And he said, cool. And that was kind of it for a little bit. Not really. He hit me up and said, okay, let's meet up. And then, and
I love this part of the story, right? Because this is where you forced, like you said, you forced the move. You were like, hey, we're going to go do some stupid cool stuff that you've never done before. Right. Let's go. Right. And I love that you kind of, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I love that you kind of figured that out, right? It was like, hey, I got to get on this guy's radar somehow, right? How can I add value to somebody else? And I love how you noted that, right? Because that's a huge part of it, right? To get on somebody else's radar that's a couple levels above you, you have to know how to provide value. And I love how you identified that before you even made the move. So killer stuff. So tell us what happens next, right? Does Alex pick up the phone right away?
Yeah, well, he actually did. He gave me a good response. It was like, bro, let's meet up. And I think we did meet up. And I was like, yes, I've got my mentor. We're gonna make stuff happen. This is gonna be awesome. But then it was kind of radio silence for a little bit. I was like, hey, bro, what's up, man? Hey, I'm still here. Hey, I want to find you deals. Let's go. But Alex was a busy guy. He was enjoying Maui, and then that's just the way it is with high level people. If you send one text, it's probably not gonna get answered. So I didn't send him one text. I sent him plenty of texts, and eventually got answered. I was like, this is my last Hail Mary. Like, okay, fine. If Alex doesn't respond to this, I'm just going to go. I'm going to drive for dollars and start cold calling on my own, and we'll see what I can do. So I was like, this is my Hail Mary. I sent him a picture of when I went spearfishing last, and I was holding a couple, pretty cool Hawaiian fish. I was like, bro, are you even spearfishing yet? And that one I got a response to. And so that's he said, yeah, let's go, let's hang out, let's go spearfishing. We connected. We were able to go and meet a few other investors. Brittany Arneson, Matt Onofrio. So I was able to take them all spearfishing, and that's kind of the start of it all. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
What a killer story, right? And again, it's you listen to Bigger Pockets, right? You hear about a lot of people that listen and they analyze and they look at things. But the big thing I took away from it was like, look, you identified where you sucked, or maybe not where you sucked, but where you could use improvement, right? And you said, look, dude, if I want to be a deal maker, if I want to, be a real estate investor, at some point I'm going to have to get somebody to sell their house, right? So if I'm not comfortable making that sale, I either have to hire somebody or I have to improve that. And I love how you just kind of, took that under your own wing and again, door knocking, what better place to do it, right? Something that can translate directly into real estate. You can do door knocking, you can do driving for dollars. Those are two areas that just kind of fall right in line with each other. So, killer job on that. And just wanted to point out how, again, taking that step is, really what it is. Just listening to Bigger Pockets is one thing, but taking the next step and saying, hey, I can improve myself and get to that level, that's a whole another realm. So I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of valuable lessons in his story, and I think the first one was that, like, he got the information, the rich dad, poor dad, and then it just completely changed his way of thinking, and he was willing to go ahead and forego his senior year or his last year or two of college because he just saw, like, I already know what I want to do. And that definitive purpose is something that I don't see sometimes with newer investors. They're kind of lost all over the place of where they should start. And then, knowing, like, hey, I want to be here. How do I add value to somebody? And then, once the opportunity came up, it doesn't just like happen. And then, he did have to bug me for a couple of months. It's not because I didn't want to get back to him. It's just I was busy building LA operation, make sure that was solid, but he didn't give up. And then he found an interesting way to get on my radar, and that's what happens. And I do the same thing with some of my high level people now that I'm mentoring under, that I constantly want to be around. I find interesting ways, and sometimes I have to pay to be around them, because I know that by being around them, I'm going to be able to, like, learn something very valuable of what I really I have a high desire to want to do. And so I think there was just a couple of valuable lessons of the persistence, of being creative, of being sure of what you really want. And certainly Alex is not exactly where he wants to be at yet, but he's been taking very strategic steps along the way, and just having faith that, like, hey, if I take this action and I show up, I think good things are going to happen, and they have because of that. So just want to highlight that.
Yeah. So, Ibarra, obviously, you get on Alex's radar, right? You're out spearfishing with them, and you kind of get the idea, like, okay, cool. So my mentor is here, like, I'm spearfishing, like, what's next? Like, how do you go from, being on the outskirts, like, hey, I tried to call you a couple times, a little bit of ghost silence, little radio silence, Alex is busy. How are you able to identify, like, what that piece is that can add value to his business in Hawaii?
So I knew that, again, just what I had mentioned before, is like, I know that people, no matter how successful they are, they need deals. So I just got to be able to find that deal. And I knew that the first step was finding some leads. going driving for dollars. I think it was at the very beginning when Alex and was considering Deal Machine. You're representing right now, Will. But we've been talking about it, and I was like, hey, this is my thing. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to show that I can bring value, something that he doesn't have, a pile of quality leads here in Maui. And so it's identifying, what does this person at the level they're at, what do they need? And can I bring that? How can I bring that? And so that's kind of what it took, is those 700 first leads that we got, that, we sent out mailers to them, and we got a deal on the first one, a home run deal. That's been awesome. And so was able to just take some really focused and what's the word? But I just take a lot of action there at the beginning to prove that I could bring value. And then the pieces fell where they did. We were able to get a deal from it.
Yeah, and I also want to say, along the way, though, also there's been this constant. What I've noticed between my relationship with Alex Ibarra is that he's constantly pushing me to like try something else, but it's based off of like knowledge and research and something that he's already taken. So it's never like, okay, he's just trying to sell me on doing something, but he's constantly pushing me, which I need to be pushed because I have so many other things on my plate that, like, if I'm not pushed to do something or consider some type of marketing thing that we're working on, or to test something, or to bring on a new, like we recently brought on a virtual assistant for only Hawaii, all that has really come from that constant persistence from Alex's part, and saying, hey, we kind of need to do this, but what about this? What about that? And so it's just like that dialogue of just constantly, okay, how can we grow this? What can we do? But, Alex has been, just instrumental in that. And I think another big part is that I can't babysit people. I do not like to micromanage people. So that's what you want in business when you're, successful, is like, you want people that are going to take initiative, they're going to think for themselves, but also think for what's a greater good for the group. And I see that Alex, does that constantly. So do you, Will, where I don't have to hold anybody's hand. We all know what we want to accomplish. Well, what part are you going to play in that? And I think that takes some thought and some, to really doing some internal inventory, right? Like, what do I bring to the table? What does this person really need? If I really want to be around them, then I need to be able to justify the reason that they're going to invest time into me. And they're going to do that because I'm going to bring them deals, or I'm going to bring them money, or I'm going to help make their job that they're currently working on easier. Like, you have to make it easy for people to do business with you. And the way you do that is by providing value, and that's such a generic term, but providing something that they can see as value in their eyes. And the only way you can do that is to put yourself in their shoes, if you can, for some ways, and so that way you can figure out, hey, what value can you bring to that equation, to that relationship? Yep. So you've done a great job of that, Alex. You're constantly doing that, but it's a constant thing, right? Like, it's not just like, okay, one time, hey, I did that one favor for you, or hey, I got that one deal. No, it's like a constant thing. Like, how else can we continue to help each other? Is really the mindset I see with all of us here. Cheers to that.
And you know what? I love how you pointed out there too, right? It was, like, Ibarra, you actually found what he was missing, right? So you're like, all right, investor doing deals in LA, living in Maui, not doing deals in Maui. So, Alex, we talk about this often, right? When we're bringing on new team members, it's like, look, if I have to determine what job you're going to fit, then it's probably not going to be a fit, right? Yep. Whereas if you come to me and you're like, hey man, I noticed you guys have never bought in a house on auction and talked about it on the webinar. Do you guys not buy from auctions? No, we don't. Oh, well, cool. I actually did this massive amount of research on auctions, took some direct steps, and I think I can get us a couple auction houses. You want to take a look? I'd be like, yeah, like, by all means, let's take a look. Like, you identified a need, you filled the need. And I think, again, Ibarra, the way that you were able to kind of, put one and one together really led to this kind of door opening for you and you finding your mentor, right?
Yep, absolutely. I think that's such a good point of you got to be able to identify that need they have. And I'll be honest, Alex's needs were not the first person, or he's not the first person I tried to identify needs for. He's the first person I got it right. But along your journey, if you are just insatiable, if you just know where you're going and you're determined to get there, you're gonna have some doors slammed in your face, but you got to keep trying. This worked out really well, but I had to fail a couple times along the way. but yeah, absolutely right. You got to be able to identify that need and find a way to fill it according to your strengths.
Yep. Yep. And the thing is, I had a need and I filled it with Will. And then, I also had a need in Maui, but then Alex filled it for me. So it's like not always like I went and looked out for something and it just happened to fit with Will. But then with Alex, he was looking for me and I did kind of need it, but I wasn't out there looking for it. So, there's just different ways it works out.
Great point. Sometimes you don't know what you're looking for, but sometimes an Ibarra shows up on your doorstep and says, "Hey man, are you looking for 700 hot leads in Maui? I got them. What do we do next?" And so I love that. So, that's the beginning, but guys, we got, 30 plus people here on the call. Ibarra, let us know a little bit more now, background, killer story. Where are things at now? Right. So, you obviously came into Alex's life about a year ago, when he moved out to Maui, you guys got a deal. Where are things at now?
Yeah, so we got a deal shortly after we started marketing back in the spring, and I did take some time to feed my family, to go and knock some doors for a summer. But since the end of September, we've been back, and now we have. The goal is always to get 4 deals in our first year. That was our bare minimum. And we had those 4. We just had one, just a few days before it closed, it just fell apart. So we got 2 in escrow right now. So we need to be getting at least 1 or 2 before the end of this year under contract to hit that goal. But the ones that we have now has been with the help of, I've been hitting the ground running over here, but not without the help of some solid acquisitions people that we've been able to recruit and train. One of the deals we have was, one of our people just submitted an offer $200K below asking, and was able to get it locked out. But as a team, I think we've hit our 3rd week of making offers that the number of offers is double digits. So things are starting to roll. We're starting to just turn that machine. That's the goal. That's always been my goal, is like, how can we create a deal finding machine? And so that we're kind of finding that now.
And I love how you mentioned that, right? It's now you've been able to kind of take some of the mentorship that Alex, has provided for you, and now you're able to kind of, extend that to somebody else. And I know you said you just submitted an offer at 200,000 below asking, but it's not like that was just like a number you guys threw out there, right? Like you guys did training, you guys did comps, you guys did analysis. So this wasn't like just a below offer, below listing offer. This was the number that worked, right? This is the number that worked on your guys' end. This is the number that made the deal happen. And that's why you submitted that number, right? It's not like, your lowball wall over there just submitting the $200 or 200K below average, but that comes from training, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We realized that we had some opportunity here on the MLS, and so we're trying to figure out how can we really take advantage of it and go deeper than anybody else is going. And so we're submitting mass offers. Anything that looks like could potentially be a lead. It's been sitting on the market for a little bit. Maybe it needs a little bit of work done to it. There's a few things that we're looking for. And once we see that lead, we run numbers on it. The list price is really irrelevant there in the initial analysis. You got to figure out what our number is. Where can we buy it at based off of what we can sell it at? And so once we have that, and we go and build some rapport and get a good relationship with the listing agent, and help understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and why our offer is going to be what it is. Make sure they understand we're not just submitting stuff blind. And let them know this is where we need to be at in order for this to work. You do that enough times, things are going to go your way. We had a lot of rejected offers, but it's not about the rejected offers. It's if we do it enough time, we're going to find we're going to get the ones that accepted.
And it's a numbers game, right? Like you mentioned it earlier. It's especially in these last couple of weeks, last couple of months, really ramping it up, right? Like an offer a day keeps Alex Camacho away. Exactly. That's what we always say. So, if you're making double-digit offers, you're going to have multiple opportunities every week to speak with agents and explain to them, like, look, this is why the number is what it is. Maybe that property doesn't work. Maybe another one comes back around on the back end, but you're going to miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to add is that they've been using the MLS strategy that I developed in Los Angeles by working as an acquisitions manager for somebody else. Now we just modified it to fit, Maui standards. So one thing that I want to say is that when I started, the company there, and I wanted to make sure I had the right people underneath me, like I always look for people that I feel like can eventually also become somewhat of a leader as well, right? So as I heard it put, great leaders create other leaders, right? And so I'm constantly teaching Alex, Ibarra, and you two, Will, everything that I know, because I'm learning new stuff and then I'm catching you guys up to speed. So by the time you get to my level, I hopefully will be at another level as well. And we're just helping each other up in that kind of process. And then, so now he's been able to, I taught Alex hopefully everything that I possibly can know about MLS strategy and how to talk to agents, how to present offers, how to do all that. And then he's been training Lauren and Christy and a couple other people that we're looking to put on in Maui to be able to do the same thing, because you never know when you might connect with somebody else differently, right? So if they know the listing agent or they know that area better than Alex does, then he'll let the other team member take that shot. And I think that's been the common theme within our organization, where I'm not afraid of passing the ball to you guys and letting you take that shot, letting you miss, because eventually you guys are going to hit that shot. I just don't, I obviously I want to be able to take the shot and make as many as possible, but that's not possible when we're growing a team. Everybody needs to get these skills and these reps in. And, MLS provides a really awesome opportunity for that, because there's always houses for sale. And so we're making offers, and sure, it doesn't feel good to be rejected on, 18 offers in a row, but that 19th offer, you're probably gonna get the deal. So I know there's always been a number for us that we identify by tracking that, hey, if we make this many offers, we're gonna get a deal. And for Hawaii and for LA, that has continued to be the case. We're always just working on trying to get to that many offers for that, and that's why I'm always on you guys, right? I'm like, fuck, we got to get on it. We got to make more offers. You guys, when I was an acquisitions manager, sure, I had a lot of support and I had more properties because it's Southern California, but I was sometimes making 5 to 10 offers a day. And so I get on you guys for not making enough offers, because I know that that's really one of the biggest keys to having success and having consistent deal flow. So good job on that, guys, though. I know we've been getting deals from MLS consistently, and it's been because of that. These offer quality and quantity.
Yeah, and that's the catchphrase, right? An offer a day keeps Mr. Camacho away. So, if we're not hitting those double digits during the week, then that means, we're probably going to be hearing it, because if you don't make an offer, the facts are there, you're not going to get a deal if you don't. So it really can't be overstated, how much offers play a part in our business and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So Ibarra, let's dive in a little bit here. I know, you mentioned it earlier, right? You're like, all right, I want to do deals, but I don't have money to do deals, and I want to live in Hawaii, and Hawaii is really expensive, and I have to feed my family, right? So how are you funding these deals?
Well, a big part of that was, that's kind of the relationship and Will, you're the same boat as I am, that what I bring to the table versus what Camacho brings to the table. I'm gonna go find these deals, and he's more in charge of funding them or creating those relationships that will fund them. So a lot of them, I know he's at his time where he's had to put some of his money into the pot, but like this one here in Kumalani or here in Maui that I'm at right now, it was a partially seller finance, and then we brought in a money partner who funded the 100% of the rest. And so other than some earnest money that Alex put up in the very beginning, that's how we got that one funded. And it's similar, all the rest of the deals we're doing are similar as well. We're always looking for, a lot of it is hard money. And then we look for who's that person that we have a relationship with that we can bring this deal to and say, hey, do you want an opportunity to make some money with us? And so Alex has done a great job of building a lot of those relationships, and we're able to fund them with those people that were already on the radar.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time, right, guys? Like roles and goals, right? So, the goal is to all become financially independent from real estate. Well, the role is I don't have the money to buy $1 million property to become financially independent. But I know that somebody with millions of dollars probably doesn't also have the time to go out and find that deal, right? So, if we can kind of create that alignment, and Alex can use the big relationships that he's able to develop to, kind of piece that together, again, that's a great way of putting it, Ibarra. That's how we're able to kind of put together these deals either in Hawaii and here in California.
Yeah, and the experience that I got, you guys, and my deal makers, through all the deals that I've done, helped me to be able to take that deal down. We were going to wholesale that deal at the beginning, but we decided, hey, well, now that we decided, we actually had to pivot because we weren't getting the wholesale fee that we wanted, and we didn't get the buyers that we wanted. So we actually had to then go ahead and pivot and find a money partner. But because I had waited enough time and built relationships on the island, we got an introduction to somebody that became our money partner. But there's all these little things that happen for that to actually be the case, and us have that opportunity to work on the property and do that type of deal. So we weren't, I mean, this is a $1.35 million purchase price. I mean, the property's worth now north of $2 million. We didn't set out to go, hey, we're going to go take down $1 million properties, but we also didn't ignore the opportunities either. And we kind of found, you know, like, right, you jump off the cliff and then just, you know, you create your parachute on the way down. That's what we kind of done in Maui, where we both believe, we both have some complementary skill sets, and we both have the desire to do deals. I'm playing the part of making sure we get funding. We have the relationships that we know all the ins and outs of the real estate transaction itself, and then all the things that are, you know, needed with the deal. And Alex has been on the front lines of finding the opportunities, doing the marketing, and helping implement the marketing, helping and making sure that we're making enough offers to get deals. So there's just that complementary skill set that we're working on together. But it really did start with us both wanting the same thing, which is to do deals on Maui, and then just we're figuring out kind of the rest of the details on the way down.
Yeah. And I don't think you're going to just walk into the room and find somebody willing to fund a $1 million property without, you know, having some kind of background in the project or background in flipping projects, whether that's in California or Maui. But I think, you know, again, Ibarra just goes to show that you being able to kind of, you know, put two and two together and know about roles and goals on coming into it, I think is really what kind of allowed you to unlock this mentor where you might have swung and missed, you know, in the past on some of your other attempts, right?
And I want to say one more thing, you guys. There's been so many challenges with this deal, but like we really have kind of figured it out on the way, kind of like on the fly, right? We've been having to make all these adjustments because I don't know a bunch about Maui real estate. So, you know, we'll have a challenge. Okay, let's figure it out together. So credit to Alex on that too, where it's just like he understands like, hey, I don't have it all figured out either. I have a lot of experience and I have a lot of connections and relationships, but I have not done, you know, dozens and, you know, 100 deals in Maui or Hawaii either. So we're really, a lot of what we're doing too is still figuring it out, but we're not giving excuses. We're just saying, hey, you know we can do this. It's just a matter of like how. And so there's a constant like ebb and flow of like, okay, we got this challenge. Okay, let's figure it out. And the same thing with you, Will, right? Like there's a nonstop process of problem solving in this business, whether it's for property owners on deals that we're going to buy, or it's for the business, or for our individual situation within what we're working on in the team. Like, it's just constant. So you have to have that flexibility and that mindset of like, hey, we're going to figure it out. You know, we're going to grow and there's going to be some pains, but you know, the goals are aligned and we all want the same thing. We just have to work together to get there.
Yeah, something that Dean Graziosi said one time that really resonated with me is that all the challenges that you have that where your success is just on the other side of them, those are your success. That's your success tax. And so, you know, my Hawaii deal, all the challenges. This was a hairy deal, you guys. This was one of Maui Meadows. It was not easy. It's an awesome deal, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. But it was not an easy one. And all of it is just a success tax. Well, it's something we got to pay, challenges we got to go through in order to get to where we want to be.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. I think this other deal that was not successful. It fell apart on the 5-yard line. I know we recently. I was kind of bummed about it, but it's funny. Right after that, like a day or two later, we got another deal. So like, do you want to talk a little bit about the Ohina deal? It was a condo. I think we had under contract. We literally were at the 5-yard line, ready to get that thing closed, and then it fell apart. What happened there?
Yeah, and Maui, Ibarra, if you want to pull up, your screen share and kind of, share any details on this deal, I think that'd be great because, again, I think there's a lot of people in the room right now that might be on that kind of rookie investor in their first year. And, hearing these challenges that you kind of went through, I think would definitely be beneficial.
Yeah, for sure.
I know Alex has, experienced a lot of different, struggles and hardships, but obviously for you, I think this being your first deal and, you know, like Alex said, like sometimes you have to put out fires, right? So tell us a little bit about this fire and what kind of went down and what the deal looked like.
All
And if you
right,
don't mind just zooming in a little bit, maybe instead of doing best and worst all at once, you know, maybe we just look at kind of one. It'll just be a little bit easier, I think, for people on their phones who are tuning in.
definitely. You see that okay?
Yep.
Much better, thank you,
So
man.
this is one. It's on Ohino. We're in escrow on this one right now. This is the one I was talking about before, where a team member. This property was listed for 1.1 million, and it had been on the market for like 2 weeks. And so she ran numbers, figured out where we needed to be, realized we were just south of 800. So she offered 850. And we got a counter back at 1 million. So she offered $250,000 under. They countered it back 100,000 less than what they had listed for. Now, when we saw that, we realized, okay, these people they're ready to play ball. I mean, we still got a gap to close, but they didn't come back with, $5,000 off their ask price.
It wasn't a hard no. It wasn't a rejection. It wasn't a no response, right? You're like, oh wow, they're communicating. This is good.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard no, and it wasn't, it wasn't a small compromise on their part either. It was $100,000. So
100,000 off. They gave that to you, right? Like that.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
huge, right?
So okay, let's test these waters a little bit more. Let's see how are they really willing to budge. Now our numbers are probably below 900, but we realize if we could submit an offer at about 900, get over that $900,000 mark, that gives us a chance to test it. Okay, how much flexibility do they really have? So that's where we submitted. We got that one accepted. So we have this under contract for $902,000. That's $200,000 less than what they had it listed for. Now, as of right now, we think that our previous numbers were that this is going to sell for about ARV was about 225 or 1.225. As we dive deeper into it, because that's one important thing to realize, everybody, is that if you're going to be submitting a lot of offers, you can't spend a ton of time on every single one. So some of the numbers that we run are a little bit preliminary. We got to put an offer out, and then we see, are these people, is this going to go somewhere? Is it worth devoting a little more time to?
Love how you said that too, man, because I submitted an offer the other day and they messaged me back and they were like, oh, we're going to accept your offer. And I was like, I sent an offer at that? And I was like, oh, perfect. I need to actually, now that I took another 20 minutes to look at this, like that won't work at all. Like we'll need to come down a little bit more from there. So yeah, we call it the quick and dirty, right? 5 to 7 minutes on a deal. You got to send off an offer. And then, if the offer gets accepted or they come back to you, then, it's time to maybe dive back in and spend 20, 30 minutes again, recheck your comps, make sure everything's kind of looking like you can move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We realize that diving in, we realize we probably have a little bit more on the ARV. We probably pushed that a little bit higher. We brought a contractor through, showed him the comp that we're comparing it to, and he's like, oh yeah, I can make this look like that for 120K when we were looking at closer to 170. So or not 170, 150, but we realized that our rehab budget was a little bit smaller, our ARV was a little bit higher. So we still have a little ways we need to walk this back, but we're pretty close on this one. They've made so many concessions at this point. We're feeling pretty good. So that's our deal. That's this deal that we're looking at right now. We have a little more negotiation on it, but we're excited about it. This is going to be, it's really close to where we're at right now here in South Kihei, just a great location. So I'm excited to keep you guys posted on how this one, progresses.
Yeah, man. And again, the big thing I want to take away from this is that, again, like you mentioned, right? Like it's $200,000 below list price. But what you identified is that, look, properties in Maui that are listed correctly right now aren't lasting 2 weeks on the market. So that's that kind of indicator, that trigger for you where you're like, hey, whoa, like this thing is still on the market right now. That's, a little bit unusual. I wonder if they have any action. Let's give them some action. And then what do you notice? They bite right back, right? It's like you're throwing a fishing line out there and they gave you a nibble. And then, that's when you kind of start going into that hunt mode and you're like, all right, time to turn this nibble into a bite. and see if we can get this locked up. So great job on that one, man. What's been your biggest struggle with this property? Like, has anything kind of thrown you a wrench in it? I know you had the contractor out, did the walkthrough. Like, what's been the biggest kind of struggle you might have had to deal with on this?
So this one is going to be a short sale property. So we're dealing with a bank on this one, and it's different than dealing with just a homeowner. So it brings a whole new level, and I've never purchased a property from a bank before. So there's some nuances to it. Luckily, we've got somebody in the building who is a master at dealing with the bank, so that helps out a lot. But I'd say that's a struggle for sure.
Yeah, and you know, again, it's different than a prior house, right? You've done a seller finance house, you've done something like this. So, you know, each time you kind of take a foray into one of these other, you know, types of properties or types of acquisitions, it's good to have somebody, a mentor in your corner that you can kind of lean back on and say, you know, hey, what's up, big dog? Like, I know you have a lot of experience in the banking side of this. Like, you know, what do I need to notice? But also just knowing that there's other people in the network that you can lean on as well and say, you know, hey, maybe you've done this from an investment side. You know, what are some of the things I need to look out for? So, you know, love that. You got to always remember there's different nuances, there's different, you know, techniques that you need to use depending on the type of property you're going after.
Yep.
Cool stuff, man. Well, I know you've got another deal in the pipeline. If you don't mind kind of sharing a little bit with us on that one. And even if you don't mind, maybe just, you know, we can end it off with a little bit about, you know, the home run property here. I know everybody likes to hear about the home runs. And if you haven't been following Alex or Alex Ibarra on Instagram, you've been living under a rock. But if you have been, then you've been seeing their posts. And obviously the home run house, the Kumalani house is pretty sweet. So let's take a look at this one. This is one that, again, like proves that you guys are evolving, right? That you're growing. This is now one that you're making offers outside of Maui, right? So tell us a little bit about this one and kind of how it came about.
That's right. So this is one that came from social media. So that's something that it was a wake-up call for me to realize that I need to do a lot better at social media. Alex gets on me all the time, but social media is powerful. So let people know what you do. He's laughing because I'm horrible. Social media is not my thing, but it's a necessary evil for me, necessary being the key word. So you guys follow me, you stay tuned. You're gonna see a little more from me. I commit to that. I commit that to you right now. But anyway, so this guy reached out. He is a wholesaler or a flipper in Arizona. He'd been doing online marketing, and he sometimes gets Hawaii leads. This one he had under contract. So he said, hey, you're the first one I talked to. I want to have a solid connection out in Hawaii to send my leads to. Can you act on this? Is something you want? So looked at the numbers. They look decent. Took a trip over to Big Island, and we liked the deal. It's in a little town called Pahoa. Unlike most deals in Hawaii, this purchase price, we're going to be picking it up for 180 grand. I've never seen something for 180 grand on Maui.
We bought a property in Antelope Valley, California for 180 grand. And this thing is on the Big Island of Hawaii. Like,
yeah,
come on, man. How incredible is that to own a piece of property on an island in Maui for $180,000? Like, what a steal.
Yeah, the nastiest teardowns out here, you're going to pay 500 grand for them at least. So this was a good find. It's just this little neighborhood on the Big Island where ARV is going to be about 330. And so it's right here on He'e Street. You do these two E's and you put an apostrophe in between the two vowels. So He'e Street. It's right here, has just like this big forest off to the side. It's this beautiful lot. I can show you some pictures over here, but yeah.
This I remember this property when he told me the purchase price, and we looked at the deal and we looked at the comps. I'm like, keep in mind, guys, when you're dealing with the lower purchase prices, you're gonna use less capital, and typically the buyers are less discriminating, right? They're just trying to find a nice, clean roof over their head. Usually first-time home buyers, and that's really our bread and butter. It just happened to be another island. You can't buy a house on Maui for anything under 500,000 for a little shack teardown almost. So the Big Island, just like it sounds, has more land. And because I went to this recent Maui masterclass about a month and a half, 2 months ago. We met an investor there on Big Island, and he helped vet the deal for us. So just like earlier Alex said, like part of my job is to build these relationships that helps us take these deals down in some way or another. That was helpful because the investor kind of wanted to partner with us on deal because it was a kind of a base hit deal, pretty clean deal, not too hard, but also not a bunch of meat on the bone. For us to be able to split that and to partner up, we didn't do that, but it really helped us move forward on the deal and have a lot more confidence. And then, again, Alex flew over to the island and betted it while I was in Mexico.
Yeah, so this is a good one. It's a nice base hit that introduces us to another part of another part of Hawaii. Maui's only so big, so it's nice. It's a good opportunity for us to branch out a little bit, as well as it's a win-win because we're now creating a good relationship with someone on the mainland that does get a lot of Hawaii leads. So he sent a couple other leads my way after seeing that we can perform on this one. So this has been a good one, solid base hit. It's a really nice property. I was getting emotional when I was over there. I was like, man, I want to live in this one myself. But no, it was super stoked to
Alex falls in love with every single house we were going to buy, and he wants to move into all of them.
That's true. I know. I love Hawaii. I love all the property here.
But guys, again, like I just want to kind of point out there what you said, Alex, and it falls back to the same thing that Ibarra, did, right? Like you guys didn't know much about the Big Island, but you used big relationships and you reached out to somebody in your network and said, hey, we might have a deal. Can you guys help us out with that? That's something that, again, like I have it happen all the time where people on social media hit me up and they say, hey man, I think I have a deal. I think I'm close. Can you take another set of eyes on this? And having that person in your corner that's willing to take time out of their day and put eyes on it for you, really does help you kind of vet out the deal on that level. So tell us a little bit more about the property, man. I know, like we said, it's on the Big Island, bigger amount of land. As you can see here, you have palm trees, you have land, which, sometimes you don't always get. So sweet deal, right?
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's on about 0.4 acres, which is, it's pretty big in Hawaii. It's just lush and green over there. That side of the island gets a lot of the rain, so it's kind of a rainforest area. Yeah, it's a beautiful property. I do want to capitalize on something you just mentioned, though, Will, is you've had people hit you up with deals, say, hey, can you put eyes on this and give me your thoughts? We had the opportunity to do that with somebody else on Big Island. But back to, when I was out there looking for my mentor, I looked long and hard trying to find a mentor who could do that for me, be that for me. I got to find a deal and they can give me a little more insight on it. And I had a hard time finding him. I feel super blessed to be able to find Alex, someone who's just willing to open the book to me and teach me about this business. And each one of you here in this on this webinar have that opportunity as well. He's an open guy. He's teaching Will and I to be the same. So I'm a huge advocate of the path that I followed. I've been able to be involved in a multi-million-dollar deal on a different island using none of my money, and I didn't even have all that much experience. All I did was bring some hustle and some leads. So I do feel like that's an important thing to mention here. It's a huge part of why I'm why I'm here now and why I'm going to get to where I want to go eventually.
You're a part owner of a multi-million-dollar property on Maui.
That's right.
Where else can you do that but real estate?
Yeah, exactly. You guys, and so I was thinking about this earlier too, and I mentioned this on our rehearsal, or we do a little bit of a prep before the webinar, and there's really two ways that I see into this game. As number one, you pay a large amount of money to a coach, $20,000, $30,000, and you implement hard. You implement, your life really literally depends on it. That's how you do it. Or you go work for somebody or work alongside somebody in some way, shape, or form. That doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm working as an acquisitions manager, although that has been your path. That was my path. It could be like, hey, I'm going to partner up on my first couple of deals, and I'm going to find the deals. So, or, like you said, I am going to just kind of mentor under somebody and work alongside them, provide them value so I can learn for extended period of time. That's usually, a year, 2 years, because it takes that long for, to see the ins and outs, see multiple deals, to understand the acquisitions, understand rehab, understand resale, understand the market conditions, understand funding. There's a lot of understanding that has to happen. And so it took me 2.5 years to really develop that understanding. The last 2 years, I've been kind of on my own, but it really hasn't been until like year number 3 to 4 where I felt, okay, like now I could teach this, I could put other people on, I can help other people that I once were like 2-3 years ago when I first started. So the reason I'm so giving, and I want to make this one highlight, as I know there was a note that I want to make for you guys. is that so many entrepreneurs that I see and I have learned from, and that I definitely emulate in some ways, is that they're creating something that they really wanted themselves. For example, I always wanted to work for somebody, or work with somebody that would never kind of cap my potential, that understands like, hey, I want to keep growing, I'm ambitious, I should be able to have unlimited growth potential, as long as I'm helping the company or that individual or that mentor grow as well. And so I didn't have that when I worked for other people. I always felt limited, like, hey man, these people just want me in this lane, they just want me in this position, they just want me here, and they don't want me to grow past that. Well, I've created an organization where, Will, with Alex, everybody on the team really does have an unlimited potential. They could outgrow this company and they can go do their own thing, or they can grow within the company. There's no limit to their growth, and that's because I'm creating something I wanted. Same thing with the webinar that we're doing here. Is like, I always saw that, like, hey man, there's nobody really doing like a weekly webinar in Southern California that's kind of giving the game away, that's really helping people take action. Like, I don't see what I would want it. If it was me 2 years ago, I would want it. So let's do it. And then Will and I, helped create it because we wanted something. So just keep that in mind, that try to create things that you would want because you know that you would want to do that thing, or you would need that thing. So it's easier for you to be passionate about something because you want it, and you want to see it exist. This should exist. And so that's what we're doing here within our organization. We're creating things that we want to exist for our own benefit. And then people resonate with that because they're like, damn, wow, these people are giving this away. But really, we're kind of doing it in a selfish way, not negative selfish, but just something that we feel needs to exist. So thank you for letting me share that, because I think it's very valuable in the points we're making here.
Yeah, huge point, man. And again, that's kind of why we're in the game, right? So I know me and Ibarra wouldn't be in it if it involves spending 25 or 35, 40, $50,000 of our own money, because like Ibarra mentioned, he's got a family to feed and I'm low ball wall, so it's just not going to happen like that, right? So I love it. Like there's two routes, right? It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty cut and dry, right?
Yeah.
So I will say this, on that note, I got to put a plug in here for a second. A little while ago, I was here living on Maui, looking for my mentor, somebody who could help me get to where I wanted to go. And I worked hard. It was hard to find, but I found Alex, and haven't been able to take off since. If you're on Maui, if you're looking for your mentor, hit me up. Let's talk. We only, you got to be a rock star, and you got to be able to prove that you're a rock star. But I want to give you that shot. So if you're here on Maui, let's talk. Let's see if we can put something together.
Awesome.
Let's go, my deal makers, right? Here's an opportunity to work with Mr. Ibarra, take down some houses. Not everybody is taking down 4 houses in their first year in an expensive market, but I think Mr. Ibarra is well on his track to.
And
guys, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let some people in and keep talking, guys.
One more thing about that, or just let people in. But one of the people that's on the webinar, I think I see him right here, Michael Vesio. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name, brother. But he's been reaching out consistently. It looks like he's going to be moving to the island for a couple of months to help us with the rehab side of things, and staying at where I once stayed at my apartment that I'm keeping. That's going to be more of like an intern mentor house. And then so there's going to be some space there. So, there's definitely space for people that they want to come out to Maui and help out. But they got to be rock stars, and they got to be on it, and they got to, fill in a need for the business. So reach out to Alex Ibarra.
Let's talk.
Let's go. And guys, we're welcoming everybody onto the screen like we usually do here at the end. So Ibarra, if you don't have anything else you want to share for us, I was going to say we can go ahead and cut that off. Does anybody have any questions? Again, guys, this is a guy that literally was starting at the exact same time as me. We've been kind of building out our systems and our businesses at the same time. One of us has had the pleasure of doing it while surfing and spearfishing every day. And, one of us has been doing it out here in the smog land of Los Angeles. But, again, if you have any questions for this guy, now is the time to ask. He's somebody that's been doing it while having another job, somebody that's been doing it while, making other things happen on their own. So he's a great person to get in touch with. And I'm pretty sure you just said earlier, like, if you're looking for an opportunity, might be a guy that you want to get in touch with. And I'm adding some more folks in here right now.
Rory, how are things going for you, man? I know you guys are getting started on your route to getting another deal, right?
Yeah, no, things are going really well. Getting some systems in place. I know Valeska's been listening with you guys, and that's been a huge, massive help. But we've been putting a lot of effort into raising EMD money, locking in a couple of private funding options, getting the hard money all sort of set up. And we've got a kind of a two-prong approach in that we're talking to different wholesalers, trying to find really trying to be particular about wholesalers because they're kind of all over the place. So there's some who take their business a little more seriously, and we're finding them, which we feel really good about. And then we're going to be hitting the lists and skip tracing.
Let's go, man. Identify how you're going to find the deal and then make it happen, right? Sounds very similar to what Mr. Ibarra did.
Right.
Exactly.
Cool, man. Anybody else here on the call have any feedback, any like I said, questions, comments for Mr. Ibarra, anything that kind of stuck out for you today that you need some help with or need some backup on? We did post Alex's info on the page here, so if you do want to follow him, highly recommend it. He's on Instagram. You can get in touch with Alex on the IG page, and he's going to be posting a lot more, he said, moving forward now that he's seen the power of deals.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right, I know. I'm going to do better. At least I hope I'm going to do better.
I think you just need to have a picture of you with a laptop surfing on a wave. Just be like, looking for deals.
I know, right?
You know?
Yeah,
oh man, that'd be funny. You could even get like an old iPad that's broken or something and just be out there, this deal hunting. Well, cool guys, as always, we're excited to, meet with you guys here on the virtual side of things. I know I see a lot of familiar faces that hopefully we'll get to see you guys out tonight in person at our meetup here in LA, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right.
All right, guys. Peace and love. Mahalo.
Adios.
Ibarra, good talking to you, brother.
Good talking to you guys.